Hello students, how are you all? In last class you learned adsorption isotherms and applications of adsorption. The today's topic is colloids. So before going to know what are the colloids, first we need to learn types of solutions. Then automatically you will get clarity regarding what are the colloids. The first one is types of solutions. Types of solutions. The solutions mainly classified into three categories, divided into three categories. The first one is true solutions. The first one is true solutions. And the second one is colloidal solutions. Colloidal solutions. And the third one is suspensions. Third one is suspensions. So before going to know what are the colloids, first we need to understand the types of solutions. Then automatically you will get clarity regarding what are the colloids. In that first one is a true solution. A true solution is defined as the homogeneous mixture of two or more components whose composition varies certain limits is called as a solution or true solution. What is the meaning of this statement is, I am taking an example. I am taking water in beaker. So this is a beaker, it contains water. So water I filled in it. So in this case, water is one component. To this water, I am adding sugar. So sugar is another component. So when the sugar is added to this water, the sugar particles, the sugar molecules distributed throughout this solution, then you will get a homogeneous mixture. Homogeneous mixture. So the solution is different. True solution is different as the homogeneous mixture of two or more than two components is called as a true solution, or the homogeneous mixture of two or more than two components whose composition varies certain limits is called as a true solution. So in this solution, water is one component and sugar is another component. So whenever the sugar is added, the sugar molecule distributed throughout the solution, they will get homogeneous mixture. Now coming to the point, so here the sugar particle distributed throughout the solution, we have to take size of particle. This is our important point. Size of particle. Based on the size of particle only we are differentiating true solution, colloidal solution and suspensions. Our key point in this concept is size of particles. The size of particles of true solution is less than 1 nanometer. The size of the particle is less than 1 nanometer. The true solution consists of particle size less than 1 nanometer. Then with our eye we cannot see the particles. So what are the particles present in the true solution? The particles, solute particles. Those particles we cannot see with our eye. That means because the particle size is less than 1 nanometer. And this solution is consists. In this case, two components, the solution consists, one is water, another one is sugar. So water is the larger quantity. The larger quantity component is called as a solvent. And the lesser quantity component is called as a solute. We know very well this point. The solution is equal to solvent plus solute. Solvent plus solute. This is another important point we need. So solution is equal to solvent plus solute. Solvent is the larger quantity component. Solute is the smaller quantity or lesser quantity component. So solution made up of solvent plus solute. Now coming to the colloidal solution. So the colloidal solution is defined as the heterogeneous system. The heterogeneous system in which one substance is dispersed in another substance. So one substance is dispersed as a large particles in another substance. So what is the meaning of this point is, I am taking an example water. Here also I am taking water. Water I am taking. So in this water, I am taking, instead of sugar I am taking is starch. Then when the starch is added to this water, one component is water, another component I am taking is starch. When the starch is added to the water, the starch particle distribute throughout this solution, but you will get a heterogeneous. It is a heterogeneous system. In this heterogeneous system, the particles of starch is very large when compared to the sugar particles. The size of particles between range 1 nanometer to 1000 nanometers. So the range is between 1 nanometer to 1000 nanometers, but here is less than 1 nanometer, is between 1 nanometer to 1000 nanometers. So in the case of colloidal solution, the size of the particles is 1 nanometer to 1000 nanometers. They are large size. So particles are a very large size. These large sized particles are dispersed in this water. So these large sized starch particles are dispersed in water. This I am calling as a dispersed phase. Dispersed phase. So here is a starch. The starch particles we are considering as a dispersed phase, and the water is taken as a dispersion medium. Dispersion medium. So the starch is a dispersed phase and water is a dispersion medium. Then by taking this, we can take the colloidal solution. The colloidal solution is equal, simply colloid is equal to dispersed medium plus dispersed phase. Dispersion medium, here is water, plus in dispersion medium water, the dispersed phase is present. That means this starch is dispersed in water. Dispersed medium plus dispersed phase. Dispersed phase. So this is regarding the colloids. So in the solution, so solvent plus solute. So in solution, how the solvent and solute will be there? Similarly, in colloid solution, there is a dispersion medium plus a dispersed phase. So one substance is dispersed in another substance. Here is a starch is dispersed in water. So water is a dispersion medium and starch is a dispersed phase. But an important point, we have to compare these two solutions. So here is particles is a sugar particles we cannot see with our eye. So the sugar particles are not possible to see with our eye. And here is because particles are the size is less than 1 nanometer. But in this case starch, here also we cannot able to see the particle size with our eye, but we are able to see the particle size with ultra microscope. So we are able to see the particle size with ultra microscope or by using light. So by using light or by using ultra microscope, we are able to see the particles in this colloidal solution. But in the case of true solutions, we cannot see the particles. But in the case of true solutions, we are able to see the particles with ultra microscope or with light. So this is the regarding colloidal solution. Then coming to the suspensions. In the case of suspensions, the particle size is very, very large when compared to the colloidal solutions as well as true solutions. So this is particles present in the suspension. The particle size is greater than 1000 nanometers. Particle size is greater than 1000 nanometers. So in suspensions, the particle size is very, very large, and this is also a heterogeneous system. Heterogeneous system. So in this heterogeneous system, the particles are very, very large size, range of greater than 1000 nanometers. Now what is the conclusion we got here is in the case of true solutions, the particle size is less than 1 nanometer. This is the key point. The particle size is less than 1 nanometers. We cannot see with our eye. But in the case of colloid solutions, the particle size is range between 1 nanometer to 1000 nanometers. It is between 1 nanometer to 1000 nanometer particle size. So particle size is 1 nanometer to 1000 nanometer. In the case of suspensions, the particle size is greater than 1000 nanometers. Now what is the point to understand from this comparison of true solutions, colloid solutions and suspensions? The true solutions particle size is very less and suspensions particle size is very large, and the colloid solutions particle size is intermediate between true solutions and colloidal suspensions. The size of the particles of the true colloidal solutions, the size of the particles of colloidal solution intermediate between true solutions and suspensions. So this is regarding the types of solutions. So based on this point, based on this dispersed phase and dispersed medium, we can define the colloids as this is the heterogeneous system. The heterogeneous system in which one substance nothing but dispersed phase dispersed in another substance, nothing but what? Dispersion medium is called as colloids. So colloids is defined as the heterogeneous system in which one substance here is starch. So one substance dispersed in another substance. So what is the substance you are dispersing here is starch. The starch is a dispersed phase in which you are dispersing in the water. So water is a dispersion medium. That is the definition of colloids. The colloids is defined as the heterogeneous system. The heterogeneous system in which one substance that substance nothing but a dispersed phase one substance dispersed as large particles. One substance dispersed as a large particles in another substance. This another substance is nothing but a dispersion medium. Is called colloids, or simply has called as a colloidal solutions. Colloids are colloidal solutions. So this is the definition of colloids. Then what is the point we understand from the colloids? The colloids we are differentiating the solutions on the basis of size of the particles. So true solutions have the particles is less size, less than 1 nanometer. Suspensions have the particle size is greater than 1000 nanometers. It is also heterogeneous system. In the case of colloids, the particle size is 1 nanometer to 1000 nanometers. So particle size is 1 nanometer to 1000 nanometers range. And in colloid solution, one substance is dispersed in another substance. So what is the substance is dispersed that we are calling as a dispersed phase? In which it is dispersed, we are calling as a dispersion medium. So here is a starch is added to the water. The starch is a dispersed phase, water is a dispersion medium. Then colloid solution is equal to dispersed phase plus dispersion medium. Dispersed phase plus dispersion medium is equal to colloidal solution. Like solution is true solution is equal to solvent plus solute. So this is a colloid solution definition is the heterogeneous system. This is the heterogeneous system. The heterogeneous system in which one substance is dispersed, one substance dispersed. That substance, what is the substance we dispersed? Nothing but the dispersed phase. One substance is dispersed as a large particles in another substance. So in another substance is taking water. Another substance, that substance is nothing but a dispersed medium, is called as a colloids. So this is the introduction regarding the colloids, and it is a definition of colloids. Next, classification of colloids. In that, first one is classification based on physical state of dispersed phase and dispersion medium. So classification based on in that first one is physical state of dispersed phase and dispersion medium. So classification based on dispersed phase and dispersion medium. What is this point meaning is I am taking a colloidal solution. So colloid solution is equal to dispersed phase, dispersed phase plus dispersion medium, dispersion medium. So colloidal solution is equal to dispersed phase and dispersion medium. Then physical state of dispersed phase and dispersed medium. That means the dispersed may be a solid or liquid or a gas. A dispersion medium may be a solid, liquid or gas. So the physical state, that may be a solid, a liquid or gas. The physical state of dispersed phase and dispersed medium. Physical state is solids, liquid, gases. So based on the physical state of dispersed and dispersed medium, so we have to classify the colloids. The second category is classification based on nature of interaction between the dispersed phase and dispersion medium. Nature of interaction between the classification based on nature of interaction. Nature of interaction between dispersed phase and dispersion medium. So this is the second category, nature of interaction, that means attracting or repelling based on the nature of interaction colloids we have to classify. The third category is type of particles. Type of particles of the dispersed phase. So this is the classification based on what are the type of particles of dispersed phase. Based on the type of particles of dispersed phase, we have to classify the colloids. So colloids classification based on physical state of dispersed phase and dispersed medium, nature of interaction between the dispersed phase and dispersed medium. The third one is types of particles of dispersed phase. So this is the classification. Now let us discuss one by one in detail. Next, classification based on physical state of dispersed phase and dispersion medium. This is the first classification. So based on the physical state of dispersed phase and dispersed medium, the 8 types of colloid systems are possible. So based on physical state of dispersed phase, I am writing as dP. Based on the physical state of dispersed phase and dispersion medium, I am writing as dm, dispersion medium. So based on the physical state of dispersed phase and dispersed medium, there are 8 types of colloidal systems. 8 types of colloidal systems are possible. 8 types of colloidal systems are possible. So first I am taking here is a serial number, in that number 1, and I am taking here is a dispersed phase. Here I am taking a dispersed phase. Here I am taking a dispersion medium. Dispersion medium. Second, here I am taking dispersion medium. The third one is a type of colloid. Type of colloid or colloidal solution. This is a example. The next one is a example. In that first one, I am taking a dispersed phase is a solid. The solid dispersed phase in a solid dispersion medium. Solid in a solid. So I am taking dispersed phase is a solid. Even dispersion medium also I am taking a solid. Solid in solid. Solid present in solid. So type of colloid is, we have to call it as a solid sol. We have to call it as the type of colloid name is a solid sol. Example for this case, we can take a colored glass. Colored glass, or you can take gemstones. So in the case of colored glass, the glass is a solid, amorphous solid. So glass is a solid. In that glass, the color substances will be there, nothing but metal ions. They are also solid. So this is a solids present in solid. The solid in solid we have to call it as a solid sol, example is colored glass. So physical state of dispersed phase and dispersed medium both are solids only. This is the first category. And the second one is solid dispersed phase. Again I am taking is a solid dispersed phase in a liquid. So dispersion medium is liquid, dispersed phase is solid. So solid in liquid, we can tell it as a solids present in liquid, in simply solid in a liquid. The solid in liquids generally we have to call as salts. Very very important. Solids in liquids we have to call as salts. Example you can take is cell fluids. Cell fluids. The cell fluids is an example of a solid in a liquid. For example, I am taking a biological cell. It is a biological, that maybe you can take plant cell or animal cell. In this cell, the water is present. Water. So water is a dispersion medium. In biological cells, nothing but a plant cell, animal cell, the water will be taken as a dispersion medium. In this dispersion medium, the particles are proteins and nucleic acids. The size of the nucleic acids and proteins are the colloidal range. The size of the protein molecules and nucleic acid molecules, and protein molecules and nucleic acid molecules are macromolecules. The size of these protein molecules and nucleic acid molecules are the colloidal range. So that we can take these nucleic acids or proteins. Nucleic acid or proteins. So this nucleic acid and proteins are dispersed in water in the cell. Of course, many other particles is present. I am taking nucleic acids and proteins. These nucleic acid and proteins are solid particles. These solid particles are dispersed in liquid water. So these cell fluids is an example of solid in liquid. The cell fluids are liquids, solids in liquids. Solids dispersed in a liquid. In cell fluids, in cell fluids, solids are dispersed in liquids. Nothing but nucleic acids, proteins are dispersed in water. So this is a second category, solid in liquid. We have to call them as a sol. Example is cell fluids. In this case, nucleic acid proteins dispersed in water present inside the cell. This is a second one. And the third category is solid. So first dispersed phase I am taking a solid. I am changing the dispersion medium. Dispersion medium is a solid, liquid. Then what the next state we have is a gas state. Solid, liquid, gas. But one dispersed phase is common. Solid, dispersion medium I am changing. Solid, liquid, gas. So solid in gas we have to call it as a aerosol. In aerosols, solid is dispersed in gas. Example for aerosol, you can take dust. The dust present in the air, the size of the dust particles is the colloidal range. The size of the dust particles in the air is a colloidal range. So the dust present in the air is an aerosol. It is an example for a solid in a gas. Solid in gas is called as a aerosol. This is a third category. The next one is a fourth one. The fourth one, solid. I took solid dispersed phase. I am taking here is the next liquid dispersed phase. So liquid dispersed in a solid, liquid, gas, then we will get a solid. So liquid in a solid, we have to call it as a gel. So the liquid dispersed in solid, we have to call it as a gel. Example for this case you can take as a butter. We can take example for this case is butter. So in butter, the liquid is dispersed. The liquid is dispersed in a solid. Here liquid is we can take as a water. The water is dispersed in oil. The liquid here is water. The water is dispersed in oil in the butter. So the butter is an example for a liquid in solid. The liquid in solid generally we have to call as a gels. This is a fourth category. And the fifth category is a liquid in a liquid. Liquid in liquid, we have to call it as a emulsion. Very very important. Liquid in liquid is called as a emulsions. So Best example for emulsion we can take as milk. If we take the milk contain a dispersed phase and dispersion medium, both are in liquid state. Dispersed phase is a liquid state, dispersion medium also is in liquid state. So in what is the dispersed phase is a liquid fat. Milk consists of liquid fat. The liquid fat is a dispersed phase. Liquid fat is a dispersed phase in milk, and water is a dispersion medium. If you take the milk contains liquid fat, that liquid fat is a dispersed phase, and water present in the milk that can act as a dispersion medium. So these are called as emulsions. Emulsions are nothing but a liquid in liquids, liquid in liquid type of emulsions. So liquid in liquid type of colloids. Then sixth category, liquid in gas. So dispersed phase is a liquid, dispersion medium is gas. We have to call them also as a aerosol. So we have to call them also as a aerosol. The example for this case is a cloud, or you can take a mist, or you can take a fog. So all these examples of liquid in gas. The liquid in gas is called aerosol. Example is you can take a cloud, mist, fog, etc. Right. The next category, seventh one is liquids completed gases. So solid, dispersed phase is 3 cases solid, and the dispersed phase 3 cases liquid. Then we have to take next one is gas. Gas in solid. The gas in solid we have to call as a solid sol. Example for this case is a foam rubber. The foam rubber is an example of gas in a solid. We have to call it as a solid sol. Then eighth one is a gas in a liquid. Gas in liquid we have to call it as a foam. Gas in liquid is called as a foam. Example you can take as a soap lather. So soap lather is taken as a gas in a liquid. So these are total 8 possibilities, 8 colloidal systems are possible based on the physical state of dispersed phase and dispersion medium. And one more we have tried here is gas in gas. Gas in gas. So solid, 3 cases we took solid, 3 cases we took liquid. If we take the 2 cases only we took the gas, the third case we didn't take gas. Gas in gas is not possible. When gas is mixed with gas, we'll get a homogeneous mixture. But colloids are a heterogeneous system. So colloids are heterogeneous mixtures or heterogeneous system, but gas in gas is a homogeneous system. So because of the formation of homogeneous system and gas is mixed with the gas, the ninth type of colloidal system is not possible. That meaning is the gas in gas is not a possible colloidal system because of formation of a homogeneous system. So these are the different types of colloids based on the physical state of dispersed phase and dispersion medium. So out of all these an important things are further side we will use first one is sol. So sols are very important. The sol is nothing but solid in a liquid. Sol is nothing but solid in liquid. This is an important category, solid in liquid. Another important category we have is emulsions. You can take emulsions. Emulsion. In emulsions, what we have is liquid in liquid. Liquid in liquid. So this is also another important category. In addition that, one more we have is gel. So gel is a colloidal of liquid. Liquid in gel is liquid in solid. Liquid in solid. So out of all these colloids, we will use major one, important one as salts. Salts are nothing but solid in liquid. And next one is emulsion. Emulsion nothing but liquid in liquid. And the third one is gel, liquid in solid. So these are the important categories of different types of colloids based on the physical state of dispersion phase and dispersion medium. So if in all these cases, if dispersion medium, if we use water, if dispersion medium, very important point, dispersion medium is water. If dispersion medium is water, then the sol is called as aquazole or hydrozole. The sol is called as the sol is called aquazole or also called as hydrozole. If dispersion medium is water, the sol is called as aquazole, also called as hydrozole. If dispersion medium is alcohol, then sol is called alcohol. So if the alcohol is the dispersion medium, then the sol we have to call as alcohol. So water is dispersion medium, hydrozole or aquazole, and the alcohol is the dispersion medium, we have to call as aquazole. So this is the classification of colloids on the basis of physical state of dispersed phase and dispersion medium. The total possibilities are 8, and gas in gas is not possible because gas in gas from the homogeneous system. So this is a classification of colloids on the basis of physical state of dispersed phase and dispersion medium. Next, second one, classification based on the nature of interaction between the dispersed phase and dispersion medium. So based on the nature of interaction between the dispersed phase and dispersion medium, the colloids classified into two types. They are, the first one is lyophilic colloids and the second one is lyophobic colloids. Let us write them. The first one is lyophilic colloids. The second one is lyophobic colloids. And this topic, this classification is very important for PUC examination. Lyophilic colloids and lyophobic colloids are very important for PUC examination. So based on the nature of interaction between the dispersed phase and dispersion medium, colloids are two types, lyophilic, lyophobic. If dispersion medium is water, if the dispersion medium is water, then we have to use the hydrophilic, hydrophobic. So we can use the term hydrophilic and hydrophobic. If the water is the dispersion medium, in colloidal solution, what is the dispersion medium? We have to use the terms hydrophilic and hydrophobic. Now let us discuss one by one in detail. The first one we will discuss lyophilic colloids. The first we will discuss lyophilic colloids. So the word lyophilic meaning, is the word lyophilic meaning is solvent loving or solvent attracting. Solvent loving or solvent attracting. So what is the sentence meaning is, I am taking an example, I am taking a colloidal solution. So I took the dispersion water, the water is a dispersion medium, I took water, the water is a dispersion medium. In this water, to this water I am adding starch, or you can use gum also, or you can use gelatin. So the starch or gum or gelatin added to the water, the starch particles or gum particles or gelatin particles will be dispersed in water. So this is dispersed phase. Here a dispersed phase is an example of some, I'm taking starch. The dispersed phase is starch, dispersion medium is water. So between the dispersed phase and the dispersion medium, so between the dispersed phase and dispersed medium, there is a strong attraction. So there is a strong attraction between the dispersed phase and dispersed medium. Here between the starch molecules and water molecules, between the starch molecules and water molecules, there is a strong attraction. So these are the colloids in which there is a strong attraction between the dispersed phase and dispersion medium. So the word lyophilic meaning is solvent loving or solvent attracting. So the dispersed phase attract the solvent molecule. And the next one is these colloid solutions are directly obtained by, these colloid solutions are directly prepared by mixing substances like starch, gum, gelatin, etc. with suitable solvent and nothing but dispersion medium. Then we'll get lyophilic salts. They are called as lyophilic salts. Then the dispersion medium is separate from the dispersed phase. So suppose this is the dispersed phase is starch. The starch molecules are completely removing from this colloidal solution. Simply what I am doing is I am removing these particles. I am separating a dispersed phase and a dispersion medium. Both are separating. Dispersed phase is separating, dispersion medium is both are separating. After separation, and again you have to add the dispersed phase to the dispersion medium, then automatically the colloid solution is going to get formed. That means these lyophilic salts are reversible colloids. These are the reversible in nature. So we are able to separate the colloid solutions. That means we are able to separate the dispersed phase and dispersed medium, and after separating again we have to add this dispersed phase and dispersed medium. The colloid solution is going to get formed immediately. Then so these are the reversible in nature. We are able to separate, we are able to by adding we are able to reconstitute the colloidal solution. So these are the reversible in nature. And one more important point is these colloid solutions are very stable because of strong attraction between the dispersed phase and dispersed medium. The colloid solutions are very stable. So lyophilic colloids are stable due to the very strong attraction between the dispersed phase and the dispersion medium. So these are the points we have to write. Then this topic is very important for PUC examination. So they will ask write the lyophilic and lyophobic colloids. So first I am writing the points related to the lyophilic colloids. In that point number 1, the word lyophilic meaning is solvent loving or solvent attracting. The word lyophilic meaning is a solvent loving or a solvent attracting. Between the dispersed phase and dispersed medium there is a strong attraction. This is the point number 1. The point number 2, the salts are prepared directly by the colloidal salts are directly formed. The colloidal salts are directly formed by mixing substance like gum, starch, gelatin, etc. with liquid nothing but dispersion medium. With liquid dispersion medium are called lyophilic salts. The next statement is, the next one is the salts are reversible. These salts are reversible. These salts are reversible in nature. And another point relating to the lyophilic salts is salts are stable. So they are quite stable. So these are the 4 points you have tried regarding the lyophilic colloids. The first one is solvent loving. Lyophilic meaning is solvent loving or attracting. Then the lyophilic meaning the second one is the colloid salts are directly obtained by mixing the substances like gum, starch, gelatin with liquids. So liquids are nothing but dispersed medium are called lyophilic salts. They are reversible in nature and they are stable. These salts are reversible and they are stable. So this is lyophilic colloids. Next lyophobic colloids. This is the second one. Lyophobic colloids. The word lyophobic meaning is solvent hating or solvent repelling. The word lyophobic meaning solvent repelling or solvent hating. Solvent repelling, or this is the point one, the solvent repelling or solvent hating. What is this point meaning is I am taking a dispersion medium. To this dispersion medium I am adding a dispersed phase like metals, or you can take their sulfides of metals. So you can take metals and their sulfides. Whenever this can act as a dispersion phase. Whenever this dispersed phase is added to the dispersion medium, whenever these metals and their sulfides added to the dispersion medium, between the dispersed phase and dispersion medium, there is a repulsion will happen. Otherwise, the solvent will hit this dispersed phase. So between the dispersion phase and dispersion medium, there is a repelling. So due to repulsions, the preparation of these colloids is very difficult. So by adding directly dispersed phase or dispersed medium, the colloids cannot be get formed. So the colloids directly do not formed by adding a dispersed phase to the dispersion medium. So these colloids are prepared by a special method. So that these are called as lyophobic colloids. Lyophobic colloids are prepared by some special method. By mixing directly with dispersed phase with dispersed medium is not possible. So this is another point relating to the lyophilic colloids. So what is the here point meaning is the lyophilic colloids do not prepare directly by mixing dispersed phase with dispersed medium, and they are prepared by some special methods. So these are called as lyophobic colloids. And another important point relating to it is these are irreversible. These are also called as irreversible colloids, irreversible salts, because if the colloid is prepared by dispersed phase is dispersed in dispersion medium, then if you separate the dispersed phase, this is the dispersed phase and dispersed medium are separated, and by adding after separation, if you add dispersed phase dispersed medium by reconstitute the colloid solution cannot be get formed. So that we have to call as these are irreversible salts. The lyophobic salts are also called as irreversible salts. What is the reason behind it? The dispersed phase and dispersed medium is separated, and by reconstitute the colloid, if you add dispersed phase to the dispersed medium, the colloid cannot be get formed. So these are called as irreversible colloids. In the case of lyophilic colloids, dispersed phase and dispersed medium are separated. Then if you add the dispersed phase to the dispersed medium, colloid will be formed immediately. Simply by mixing dispersed phase and dispersed medium, we will get the colloid. So that is lyophilic colloids. In the case of lyophobic colloids, dispersed phase and dispersed medium is separated. By adding dispersed phase to the dispersed medium, colloid cannot be get formed. So these are the irreversible colloids. These are irreversible colloids. These are also called as irreversible. Irreversible colloids or simply irreversible salts. And another important point relating to it is so these are not stable, these are unstable, these are not stable salts. These are not stable salts. So these are the some point relating to the lyophilic colloids. So this is the second one, classification based on nature of interaction between the dispersed phase and dispersed medium. We have two types of colloids, lyophilic and lyophobic colloids. Next class I will come out with another continuation topic.